Welcome to this week's edition of our Ag Bites video for Peterson Farm Seed. Today we're going to talk a little bit about staging soybeans during the reproductive stages. And we have some early or late planted soybeans here that we can take a look at, some of the early stages, along with our replicated plot in our background. We've got our April 4th soybeans that are really far along, so we've got a pretty good wide change of maturities out here. And a lot of different stresses can affect different parts of the plant at these stages. So this plant here, just pulled from these late planted beans, are planted at the end of June. This plant right here is in our 2-stage full flower, and the easiest way for staging soybeans is you count the top 4 nodes. So you count down from the first fully expanded trifoliate. If the trifoliate leaves are touching, you don't count that. So you start from the center of the axle where that first fully expanded trifoliate is, count down four nodes, and then you look at that flower there. And if you have flowers in any of those top 4 nodes, you're at full flower. R1 beginning flower, which happened a while ago, a lot of that was right after the solstice, end of June. It was just any flower on the plant, but right now we're in R2, and this is the timing you want to be putting on a fungicide if you're trying to go after white mold control. Which you're still not the greatest control on white mold, but that's going to be the earliest and the best is R1, R2. The next stage is getting in R3. So at that 4th node, you're looking at a pod that's about 1/4 inch, and then you're in R3. And this is the staging time that a lot of guys are putting fungicides on their soybeans for that plant health, or maybe trying to get ahead of brown spot, some of the other diseases. Frog eye is one that we don't get into, but that's more prevalent in the south. So that's where we want to be. But just that little 1/4 inch pod is get you into R3. R4, at the R4 stage, the pod is at least 3/4 inch. This one's getting close to R5 actually, but that pod is about 3/4 inch long, getting in that R4 stage. And what we would be losing at R4 is bean. The amount it could still suck back some of the beans. At R3, we could be losing some pods, but R4 we could be aborting some of the beans. And then we get into R5, and on that 4th node or above, if you can actually feel a soybean in there, if you can feel the bump of any bean, you're in R5. And R5 is quite a long stage where we're gaining most of our dry matter, filling most of our soybeans. And at this is when any stress are in R5, and then R6 is when those beans actually touch together in the pod, full seed. That's when we start losing weight in our soybeans and affecting yield that way. So it's good to know the stages on your soybeans, especially if you're out there scouting for aphids, scouting for spider mites, when you should be applying. And our recommendation is still applying through R6. Putting water if you're irrigating through R6 yet. That plant is still putting a lot of its dry matter in that seed, building your yield. So we want to be protecting it, especially this year with our drier weather.